Hey y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and today we're looking at a press release from Redfin, local real estate company here, and they have done a study, and it's not a good one, I gotta say. Seattle's ranked number 1, and normally that's a good thing when you start talking about winning. I like to win, I like to be a champion, all those fun things. Go Seahawks, Storm. Okay, I'm not gonna keep rambling. But I think looking at this list, at first it's like, woohoo, Seattle's number 1. And then you look at it and you go, U.S. housing market's cooling the fastest. And then you realize it's probably not the best to be at the top of. So looking at this, as we're jumping in, Seattle's number 1 on Redfin's list here. So they looked at February till now to see kind of how things have changed. And Seattle being according to their weighted scale, and they gave different weights to different things like changes to pending sales, price drops, amount of inventory, sales prices, list price ratios, things like that. And Seattle scored considerably higher than everywhere else. You got Las Vegas on this, and then a bunch of places in California, and then Denver, Phoenix. But again, Seattle's number 1 on this list, and then Tacoma's number 10. So I think this just shows here Tacoma and Seattle completely separate markets, even on this study, but Tacoma makes this list too. So the Pacific Northwest has been hit pretty hard. Portland's number 14. So, pretty much Seattle to Portland has been experiencing this slowdown more dramatically than other places. And I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that, yes, that's definitely the case. And that's what we follow along with on the Seattle real estate market updates. So if you want to follow along with the market trends here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then as we're looking at the article itself, I figured, let's look at what's actually happened here in Seattle, and we can just look at some numbers. Now, I'm looking at numbers more from the highs than from specifically February, so bear with me, it's not a perfect match, but I think it shows a little bit more dramatically even how things have changed. Again, Redfin's looking at all of these areas together. Let's look at Seattle specifically here because we have the luxury of zeroing in on the Seattle Bellevue area. And we're gonna look at from the highs to where we're at now as of August 2022 because that's the stats that we have, at least the most current ones. So Seattle, the high median sales price, $996, almost $1 million back in April. And as of August, $909,000 median sales price, so almost 10%. Houses in Seattle were selling for 11.9% above asking price. And now they're selling 1.8 below original asking price. So that's a pretty big swing there. But if you'll notice, the amount over asking price is actually more than the amount that home prices have gone down. So houses aren't necessarily listing and selling for less than what they were listed for back earlier in the year, but they're selling for less because there's that lack of competition, which is something I've been sharing here for a while. And that competition, the desire to fight over these houses and pay more, that's gone. And so that's a big reason why house prices have come down, because people were paying or asking for these higher prices and listing for $995, and they were getting $960, $950. Now they're getting $909, right? So these prices have come down to where people are willing to pay these prices and can pay these prices, but that built-in competition factor is gone. Bellevue has the biggest swing here. Houses in Bellevue in March were selling for $2,250,000, and as of August, $1,600,000. Massive drop. Houses in Bellevue were selling 17.5% over asking price in March, and as of now, they are selling 7.7% below asking price, original asking price. King County, $1 million in May was the high, $900,000 in August. Again, very similar to Seattle, more in line with Seattle there. Bellevue being one of the most expensive places to live in all of King County. Snohomish County, so just north of Seattle, $831,000 in April, $731,000 and some change in August. So across the board, King and Snohomish County down Bellevue, Seattle down. Has the sky fallen? No, but Bellevue was the highest price and has taken the biggest hit for sure. And a lot of the east side has experienced similar things, Kirkland being a big part of that as well. Those areas appreciated and had so much competition over the last few years. I'm not surprised to see the drops because a lot of the price increase was fueled by the demand for those areas, but the fear of missing out. So people are just paying huge numbers and continuing to just on top of the next one. Oh, well, we're going to list the next house in the neighborhood for even more and it's going to sell even more. I mean, we're seeing 40, 50% over asking price on some of these houses. It's like, what? And so now all that's gone. All that's gone. I mean, the swing here in Bellevue, if we're looking at that, is, man, my math skills have diminished since elementary school, but I mean, looking at like 25% swing from how much over asking to now how much below asking, that's massive. And again, that's just reflected right here in what houses are selling for now versus what houses were selling for then. So yes, the Seattle housing market, Bellevue, King, Snohomish County, all of it together, right? It has definitely slowed down quite a bit. I think interest rates have been a big part of that. I think uncertainty in where the market is has been a huge part of that. And I just think right now, people have been sitting on the sidelines. There are a lot of buyers. Again, they are not actively buying, but there are a lot of people that would like to buy a house and have moved here, but they just either can't, or they don't want to, or they're nervous, or they have stock that they don't want to sell because their stock is down so much. Right? It's not very fun to sell your stock options or your RSUs at a massive loss from what they were given to you at. It's still money, but nobody really likes to sell for less. So I think people are going to sit on those and continue to sit on those. And so I think buyer activity's down. I think we've seen prices come down. I think the worst of it, honestly, has been already happened. I think the very worst of it's already happened, but rates, if they don't go down here in the near future, which I don't think they will, at least in the near term, I think we're going to see that the housing market is continuing to be and will continue to be a lot more favorable for buyers, but it's still, if we look at historical data, it's still a seller's market by many accounts. Houses are still selling relatively quickly. We don't have months and months and months of house supply. We're still below 2 months of supply everywhere except for in Bellevue, and we even saw supply dip last month. So again, the market has adjusted. Is it going to keep dropping at this rate? I doubt it. But at the same time, I think that as a seller, I think people are going to be continuing to sit tight on their houses because I personally, if I was to buy something, I probably wouldn't sell my house right away because I know that if I wait this out a little bit longer, I'm probably going to get a better price. Now, if I was needing to move out of the area or downsize or something like that, that changes the equation. But if I was okay with being a landlord, which I am, I would probably keep my house as I'm considering a purchase. So I just think that we're going to see not as much inventory coming on the market as we might expect. And that's why I think that's going to help kind of temper this a little bit. And I think buyers adjusting to and just understanding that rates are going to be higher for a little while and accepting that, I think that's also a big part. So buyers, there's some great opportunities in the market right now. Again, I'm personally kind of keeping an eye out. The higher price points have seen the biggest hits, which makes sense as the affordability changes. There's larger gaps right in those payments. So for me, that's kind of where I'm looking as the second purchase. So I'm looking at something more expensive than what I currently have. But again, I'm probably going to keep my house as a rental as I look for that next purchase. So there's a tip for you here. I think as we're looking at this, Seattle's taken a big hit, but it's because we've seen also one of the hottest markets, and we were one of the hottest markets here over the past few years, so it makes sense. And I think when interest rates come back down and things adjust again, we're going to be one of the hottest real estate markets coming out of this as well. Thanks so much for tuning in here. I super appreciate your attention. And if you made it to the end of this video, I know you got some value. So please consider a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you do so.